Thanks for staying with us. Another group of refugees detained in Libya who have been cleared for resettlement in Rwanda, according to reports, are now expected to arrive in November. The 120 refugees from African countries will be the third batch to be resettled after an agreement between the Rwandan government, the UN Refugee Agency and the African Union. They agreed to resettle 500 migrants. On Wednesday, representatives from the three bodies visited the refugee center at Gashora, a trading center east of the capital, Kigali. Meanwhile, at least 189 refugees, mainly from Eritrea, Sudan and Somalia, have been housed at the Gashora facility. According to the UN Rwanda agreement, the migrants are allowed to seek permanent residence in the country, seek asylum in another country, or be helped to return to their countries of origin.
The United Nations Emergency Transit Center in Gashora, Rwanda, is home to 189 people who have fled their homes in Africa in search of a better life in Europe. The men, women, single mothers, unaccompanied children and families took this dangerous journey and ended up in Libya, where authorities are trying to close the routes to Europe via the Mediterranean Sea. Many of them speak about the horrors they suffered in the hands of smugglers and traffickers, and later the inhumane conditions they experienced in detention centers in war-torn Libya. A few weeks ago, asylum seekers like Sudanese Abdullah Rodwan, who left his home in Darfur, arrived via a UN-chartered flight in Kigali. He says he is grateful to Rwanda for hosting them, but he knows where he wants to end up: Europe, America or Canada. Anywhere but Africa.
We need to go out, we need to go to Europe because it's our destiny for us. Because now we get the chance to come evacuate for us in Rwanda. Thanks for that. But now all of us waiting for another step, what the next is coming. We are all waiting for resettlement, for the better life in Europe, American, Canadian, Australian, where we need to go. So, you know, in Africa, I hear like some of them, they give the chance to live in Africa. We know that Africa today is good, but tomorrow is going to be bad because we don't know where's God. That's why we were looking for the better life in our another country.
For now, Rwanda, which at one time in 1994 had over 2 million of its citizens displaced after a genocide, is home to these asylum seekers. The UNHCR says around 3,000 migrants are still thought to be in detention in Libya. Another 120 are expected to arrive next month in the tiny Central African nation. Thousands of people, many from African countries, have drowned trying to cross the sea to Europe.
Away from the migration crisis in Libya and the Central African Republic, thousands have been left homeless in Bangui from floodwaters, and local authorities fear there could be a cholera epidemic due to the lack of sanitation. The banks of the river Ubangui burst last week. Used to seasonal flooding, the residents of Bangui's District 6 did not move out at the time, expecting the water to recede, but it was followed by heavy rain a few days later, and the situation became worse.
More than 6,000 people have lost their homes to flooding in Bangui, the capital of the Central African Republic. Heavy rains have worsened the plight of residents following the outbursts of the river Ubangui last week. A resident of Gbanikola, father of 9 children, Kassa Moise, says some houses have completely collapsed.
The river rose and entered the neighborhood. It flooded everyone, and some houses collapsed. You can't even see the collapsed homes because they are underwater. Even my house is flooded.
A local member of parliament fears the use of informal latrines in the neighborhood could lead to serious health crisis.
You can see that here in Central Africa, especially in District 6, that there is no collective sanitation. And when you don't have collective sanitation, you end up with what we call individual sanitation, which is unregulated, and that means there's a risk of waste contaminating the water table.
Central African Republic is at the top of a climate change vulnerability index and listed as most at risk of flooding. Other countries include the Democratic Republic of Congo and Liberia. A United Nations Index of Climate Vulnerability published in 2018 shows rapid population growth and poor infrastructure is putting many large cities in Africa at extreme risk of threats posed by climate change.
Let's head to South Africa to wine and dine with former radio personality Sanza Sandile, who is reimagining a new Africa through food. Sanza's dinner club is situated in the heart of Yeoville, Johannesburg's inner city, that is also known to have the highest concentration of the African diaspora in the city.
Former radio personality Sanza Sandile has spent over a decade immersing himself in African cuisine. Every Sunday, he visits the local market to pick up fresh indigenous produce that he will use to cook dishes from all over the continent. Sandile hosts his popular Yeoville Dinner Club in the heart of Yeoville, Johannesburg's inner city suburb. Yeoville is commonly known to have the highest concentration of African diaspora in the city. Sandile says he started a dinner club to embrace and promote Yeoville's Pan-African culture, which has influences from Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Mozambique, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, to name a few.
So I do this for the love of the people who are coming to Yeoville, the people who are pulled into Yeoville because I am here. But I stay in Yeoville because something pulls me into Yeoville, which is the culture, the Pan-African migrant culture, which I am also happy to have joined. I missed the exile days, so somehow I'm in exile from Soweto into a place called Yeoville.
The dinner club, which started as a casual space where people could pop in informally for a quick bite, is now an exclusive dining experience where Sanza hosts and serves his guests, who are often international tourists, a variety of African cuisine, such as egusi, Nigerian melon seed and spinach sauce, jollof rice, West African flavored rice, okra from West Africa, tomato stew, and vedkoek, South African fried dough bread.
No, you know, like I'm listening to this, I'm like, I didn't really It's the only place where you see this mix of people. And now I'm happy to add this kind of people who found me through this social media because of the food and the stories and what I know, what I've earned. Living here, I'm putting together these dinners and they're amazing. And it's love for people, it's love for my neighborhood, and I'm just enjoying these times.
The food is decked out on a long wooden table and everyone dines together. According to Sanza, this is to create an open social space where people can talk and laugh together, resembling the true African home dining experience.
Sanza's cooking made me feel good. Really amazing food. It tastes wholesome. And it feels good to actually have African cuisine that's, you know, representative of who we are, where we come from, the way Sanza explained it. And it tastes amazing, so I felt really good about it.
The dinner club is most popular when guests can stay for even longer, sampling Sanza's favorite beers and wine after the meal.
Please, family, please.
The pensioners.
Real Taste of Africa. Well, that's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shubawale. Bye for now.